Hi, for those of you who already know me on Facebook, you know who I am. For those of you who don't, I'm Cindy Thomas, as my Facebook name. I want to share a story with you, and my story is a story of many other people's story, but I want to share this with you, not because I want to solicit or evoke you people or anybody to feel sorry for me or bad for me, but I want to share an awareness with everybody because I didn't know about Lyme disease, and maybe a lot of you don't either. Lyme disease, you get that from being bitten by a tick. Now, before I get into my own personal story about it, I just want to share this with you because I really didn't know that ticks were so prevalent in Quebec. And I just want to very quickly read you, sorry, I'm going to turn to my left on the screen just to give you an idea of how real ticks are all over Canada, all over the US. Okay. Taken from the Canadian website CanLyme, the reported number of Lyme disease cases. The government currently has data for Lyme disease cases reported from 2009 to 2016. 2016, there was 2009, there was 144 cases. This is Canada-wide. 2016, there was 987 cases, again Canada-wide. In 2015, Lyme disease was reported by 9 provinces: BC, Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, and Labrador. The number of cases reported in Canada increased more than 6-fold from 2009 to 2015. Now, don't quote me because these are all statistics I'm taking off of the Canadian and Quebec websites, which I'm going to leave the links for all of these websites. You can go and check it out after. In 2015, over 91% of cases were reported from 3 provinces. I repeat, over 91% of the cases were reported 3 provinces: Ontario, Nova Scotia, and Quebec. Surveillance in these 3 provinces indicates that populations of black-legged, or more commonly well known as deer ticks, have become established and are continuously increasing and spreading. Nova Scotia recorded the highest incidence in Canada in 2015. 26.1 cases per 100,000 population, 10 times the national average. That's insane. In Quebec, currently, this is very important for all of you to know, in Quebec, currently identified risk areas for disease or Lyme ticks, are, and this is taken from, again, the federal website, CanLyme, Montérégie, which is south of Quebec, southwest of Mauricie et centre de Québec, southwest of Mauricie and the center of Quebec, north and west of the region of Estrie. Now, taken from the Quebec website, which also I'm going to post that along with this story, all the links. It says a large part of Montérégie region, the southwest of Mauricie et centre de Québec region, and the southwest of Outaouais. It's bad pronunciation, but Outaouais. In 2016, 179 cases of Lyme disease were reported in Quebec, compared to in 2011 there were 32 cases, 2015 160 cases. So we're talking about Quebec. But if you, perhaps there might be some discrepancy in the numbers between the federal website and the Canadian website. And I leave that to all of you to go check it out. My point being, ticks are here to stay. They're prevalent. They're actually, I'm going to tell you that I got bit on June 26th. Today we are, what did I say? Today we're the 24th of August, 2017, 24th of August. I got bit on June 26th in Park Yamaska, which is 6 kilometers from the eastern townships. I'm not sure what region. I tried to find out what region exactly that is, but it's 6 kilometers from the eastern townships. Now, ticks climb on the backs of songbirds. They migrate. Now, birds migrate a very long, long way. So you can imagine how far these ticks are carried by songbirds. They say specifically songbirds. The ticks that are crawling around on the ground looking for hosts, mice are their favorite host. And also they're tracking these birds, they're tracking these mice, and these mice are migrating a long way also, and they're carrying the ticks, and deer are carrying the ticks, and any host is good. That could be a squirrel, anything. Your own pets, tromping through the woods that maybe sleep in your bed might have ticks on them, and guess what? You might get the ticks. So it's just a real reality. It's a real issue that they're here. Now, I didn't know a lot about Lyme disease, but what I read, I have to tell you, scared the bejesus out of me. I had no clue how debilitating Lyme disease really is. There are so many people apparently out there so sick with chronic Lyme disease who are not being properly treated and properly diagnosed. And another thing I was reading about is that apparently in Canada has a very poor Lyme testing facility. And that's, don't quote me, that's right on the CanLyme website. Ticks have been around, in the States for a very long time. So their testing facilities are much more sophisticated. Canada, well, you can see for yourself some of the stats I've told you. They haven't been around here as long, but they're migrating, like I said, on the backs of animals. And we have warmer winters, so they're not, the fierce winters we had are not killing off all the ticks that are here. And they're crossing more and more, they're crossing borders, and we're going to have more of them. A lot of blood tests, if you're with a private lab facility and you pay good bucks, big bucks, they'll send your bloods out of Quebec. Ontario apparently has a bit better Lyme testing facility because that's where we first heard of a lot of cases years ago in Ontario with the deer population. So some Quebecers have even gone to Ontario, because to go to the States, it costs oodles and oodles of money. And I had no idea. I have to tell you, I was as shocked as I was with the symptoms of Lyme disease. I was as shocked as how politically charged this issue actually is, because of improper testing. A lot of people in Canada who are positive for Lyme disease, who have it, their test results come up negative, so they end up just being sick for years, and they fall through the cracks, and they become one of the statistics of just a very sick person who gets sicker and sicker, and they call that chronic Lyme disease. A lot of Canadians have gone to the States and to be treated and tested, and even in the States there's been a lot of lobbying, because The thing about the Lyme disease is that it takes a lot of rounds of antibiotics. If you watch the documentaries, I'm going to post all the links, because one is American based, the other is more Canadian based and more informative. The US one is more about the symptoms and how sick you can be, but also really shows how much lobbying has been going on in the US for better care, because I mean there they don't even have Medicare. So I mean better care for, you know, people with Lyme disease. If you go to Can Lyme, sorry, it's not a good day for me. Most days are not good days for me, and I will explain why. On the Can Lyme website, there's even it shows you all the debates, all the political debates going on to get proper guidelines for testing and treatment in Canada. Same thing that's happening in the US is starting to happen here. And one of the MPs says it, quote unquote, this has to stop. The Canadians are losing every penny and going poor to go to the US border to get proper testing and treatment of Lyme disease. Now please remember that I don't know anybody personally that I can go talk to who's had it, who's been tested here, and who's been treated here. So, you know, please keep all that in mind, and please keep in mind also that there's a lot more about this issue that I have not yet researched or read about. But I will tell you what happened to me. I actually got bit in Park Yamaska, which is 6 kilometers from the Eastern Townships, on June 26th. I don't know if I said that. I'm sorry. Okay. My sweetheart is telling me I already said that. This is something that I've been experiencing, is like brain fog, brain fatigue, you know, I forget. I just have trouble. I already had trouble with my memory, but it seems to be worse with the fatigue. But I believe it fell on my head, because when I was walking through the brush under the trees, I thought I felt something fall on my head, touched my head. I thought it was a branch, feel it, nothing. Okay, so I went home, and I didn't wash right away my hiking gear, and I just hung it up on a hook. And then, like, I don't know, maybe 2 days later or so, or maybe 3, I was changing into some other clothes, and I saw it running up my leg. So I was fortunate that I saw the tick. Otherwise, I would not have a clue. I would not have even thought it was Lyme disease, because I didn't know it was in these regions. I didn't even know ticks were even really in Quebec. So, you know, I would not have even thought about it. But I freaked out, and I crushed the crap out of the thing, which I should have not freaked out and put it in an, you know, like grabbed it with the tissue and put it in a jar, right? So when and what happened was, for 2 weeks after that, I had intense nausea. Like, it wouldn't let me go, and it was horrible, and it would come and go, and I couldn't eat half the time, and I had to work like that. But that was nothing. I mean, this was just dealing with the nauseousness. Just a note about the nauseousness, I had already experienced that before I got bit, but this time it just seemed like it was there, more intense every day. But my beautiful husband made me these lime and ginger drinks, which really helped a lot to cut the nauseousness. So he was constantly making sure I had a good supply of that. God bless him, even though I don't believe in God. God bless him, you know, matter of speech. So that, you know, but it would come and go. Like the ginger and lime really worked to cut the nauseousness for a while, but it would come back. And one of the things I want to mention is, you know, ticks, where they're hard to find, and you don't feel them bite. because they'll go in your groin, under your arms, behind the nape of your neck, and behind your ear, all the dark, moist places where there's a lot of blood vessels, so they can easily hide. You don't know they're there. And you do not always get the bullseye rash. You do not always get the bullseye rash. So I didn't have a rash, and anyway, so then that's like 2 weeks, right? And then boom, the nauseousness is gone, and then the symptoms started. And my symptoms, one thing about the symptoms is you don't get them all right away. You don't even get them all. They can come on right away, or it can take time to come. And the symptoms vary because there are many. But bottom line is, in the end, if you're not treated, what happens is your neurological system starts being attacked, and people have ended up paralyzed in a wheelchair because they've not been tested. They didn't know they had Lyme disease, and they developed Parkinson's and Lou Gehrig's disease and any neuro disease condition you can think of, and a lot of them have ended up in a wheelchair at the end of it. So it is really a very serious thing. I haven't experienced any neural things, but my first, the nauseousness, if that was, the first symptom, and then I started having pain in my joints, and it got worse till it was excruciating in all of my joints, all over my body, and then the weakness, the incredible weakness I had in my body, and then it was the fever. Even though they're low-grade fevers, because it can be low-grade or high-grade fevers, it was pretty persistent, and I was bedridden. And then the sore throat. Before the sore throat, my neck was stiff as a board, and horrible headaches. And then my throat, and then I had so much mucus in my throat, and it would go to my chest and to my head, and started giving me like a sinus infection, a bronchial infection that I managed to fight off with my cortisone spray that I have for my nose and for my chest. So it's just so debilitating. And I went to emergency. I went to St. Mary's, and I have to tell you that they refused to test me. Even though I told them I saw the tick, I had all the symptoms. They just sort of said, "Oh well, we think you just have a virus, and a viral thing." So I begged them, "Well, what am I going to do? You're going to let me leave the hospital like this?" Anyway, they referred me to the Jewish General, because they have a clinic for infectious diseases now. He gave me antibiotics for 2 weeks, and it took 4 days till I felt better, started to feel better. I felt good for 5 days, and then started to go down again and again and again and again until the symptoms are pretty much all back, almost exactly as debilitating, and minus the stiff neck and the headaches, thank God. But I'm working 2 days a week, and it takes me a whole day of recovery the next day after I work. And I've been having to take narcotics for the joint pain, because that's been the most prevalent thing, is joint pain. And the chronic fatigue, and sore throat that's not going away, and coughing and low-grade fever at night. So all of this shit is back. I'm seeing my doctor at the end of the month. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in one way, I'm really hoping I'll be positive, because then I'll know what I have, and I can be treated for it. But then if I'm not, then God knows what it is and how long it'll take to figure it out. But if I am, then there's a negative aspect to that too. The cure, let's say in medical terms, seems to be rounds and rounds of antibiotics, which are chemicals and is not a good solution. And I've seen the testimonials. Some of these people have been on antibiotics for years. But please take the time to go and also look at the other links I have of people who've recovered from Lyme disease by going raw vegan. This isn't about a push for veganism. This is just to say to you that there have been a lot of success stories of people who have gone raw vegan and without antibiotics or you know, at some point throwing away the antibiotics, and who've had full recovery. So please check that out too. It's really worth it. Try to keep your body alkaline, like try to stay away from acidic foods, and that means processed foods, meat, dairy, highly refined sugars, coffee, alcohol. All these things have a lot of acid in them, and your body needs an alkaline state to be well. I can put links to that too if you want to check out what it means for your body to be acidic or alkaline, but it's very important. And again, my dear sweet husband has been taking care of me through all of this, and he always makes sure there's a lot of alkaline water in the fridge for me to drink, because I'm drinking a lot of alkaline water. You can make your own, and my sweetheart is going to show you how to do that.
Okay, this is actually the cheapest way that we know of how to make alkaline water. That is about 3 liters of water. You get a lime or a lemon, you cut it to coins or rings, leave it in that water for about 12 hours in the fridge. Well, I pass this through the strainer, and I put it in the blender, the leftover of the lime, and we make another drink from it. If you want to go one step further, this is also good for nausea and for a lot of other things. You have mint, cucumber, the same type of lime and lemon, and also you have ginger. And it's for 3 liters is one lemon or lime, one medium-sized cucumber, about a thumb of ginger, and a handful of mint. Same thing, put it in the fridge, let it stay for 12 hours or more, like you can make it at night, and it's ready to drink in the morning.
You can just do it even if you're not sick, to just keep your body healthy. So that's it. I mean, I just wanted to, if a lot of you were not aware that ticks are out there and they're here to stay, and they're going to be more and more, and you didn't know anybody who had it like me. I didn't know anybody who had it. Inform yourselves. You have children, you have pets, you go camping. Understand that you don't even have to go camping anymore. You can just, like me, simply be walking under a tree in any park in Quebec or any other province and get bit. And I'm amazed. I'm 53, and in 53 years I've camped and hiked all over the States, all over Canada, and I still can't believe that this one little mother, you know what, got me in my own backyard, practically. Anyway, it's a reality. I have to deal with it. I just really, really hope that I'm going to get better, because I just every day feeling sick, going to work sick, and my insurance won't pay if I call in sick, because I don't have a positive diagnosis, 100% diagnosis of Lyme disease, and without that my insurance doesn't pay. And so I'm hoping for the best outcome for this, and I'm trying to be as raw as I can, because I'm trying that approach too. I'm 3/4 raw, and but this is going to take a while to fix, and so I encourage all of you to educate yourself for your own sake, for your children's sake, for your friends' sake. Know about the disease, know about ticks, and how to protect yourself against them, and how to take those ugly, disgusting things out of your body, and where to look for them, I mean, if they're there. But and anytime you see a petition going around for better testing and treatment of Lyme, sign it. If you can be proactive, do it, because this will become more and more of a problem in Quebec. And don't take my word for anything, just go and read, and you'll hear it from the mouth of one of our own MPs say it. So please check out the links, and I'm sorry for the stuttering and all that stuff. Just I'm having a hard time. So I love you all, and I wish you all to be safe and healthy. And if any of you want to ask me a direct question, you gotta ask for my friendship and message me, because I'm tired most of the time. I can't even sit up for long periods of time to get on Facebook and answer people, and I might, if you're not one of my friends, your message will get into another category and I might not see it. So that's it. If you want to share your story, please, by all means, share your story. And that's it. I give you all well wishes, and take care. And thanks for taking the time to listen. I know it was long and exhausting, maybe for some of you boring, but I really needed to share all of this with you. And you will have the links, and please watch the 2 videos that are there also. Thank you. Take care. Be well. And be safe.